Whether you're a newbie to commuting by bike or a seasoned, die-hard, all-weather veteran, it's always worth thinking about ways you can make your commute easier, less stressful, and altogether more enjoyable. And with a bit of forward planning and preparation, you can do just that, making sure you get to work feeling fresh, looking $1 million, and smelling like... what smells good? Bacon. No, weird. Freshly baked cookies. So in this video, we're going to give you loads of tips on how you can make your commute more fun and smell like cookies, amongst other things. But before we do that, we're going to have a quick poll in the app to see how many of you actually do commute. So get involved, click on screen, it'll take you through the poll in the app, and you can do that now. First up, imagine the scenario. It's Monday, you're tired, probably a little bit grumpy because you've got to go to work, but you get to ride your bike, so you're already winning. But wait! Before you leave the house, make sure you pack a bag full of clean clothes that you're gonna need for the rest of the working week. That way, you won't have to lug a big bag in on your commute for the rest of the week carrying clean clothes every day. Genius. Here's my bag. This has got all the clothes I'm gonna need for this week in the office. So I've brought a GCN t-shirt, some GCN club socks, and a pair of pants. This one is a tough one here at GCN. As you've probably gathered, many of us commute by bike here, and it means that fighting for shower space can often be a daily battle. Now, if you're lucky enough to work in a place where there are showers that can help you freshen up, then perhaps consider getting to work a little bit earlier or later so that you can miss the rush and the main peak demand time for the showers. Trust me, if your commute is longer than 5 minutes long, your co-workers are going to be really thankful that you've freshened up. And if your place of work doesn't have shower facilities, a lot of them don't, then there are other options. Perhaps there's a gym that's close by to where you work and you can use the shower facilities there. The take-home message? Have a shower. Unless, of course, you're antisocial and like the idea of having an entire office to yourself. Ooh. You never know when you're going to need lights when you're riding to work. And if you commute on busy roads, then I'd recommend actually using daytime running lights, as this is a really sensible thing to do. But sometimes you can get delayed and held up, meaning that even if you weren't expecting to ride in the dark, that's exactly what you can end up doing. So always be prepared. Maybe have a set of emergency lights at work, and if you're riding in winter where it's often dark, then it's worth putting your lights on charge as soon as you get to the office. You don't want to set off in the dark and then realise that actually your batteries have run out. Another potential solution is to use a dynamo attached on your bike, which can charge your lights as you go. Now, there are a number of advantages and disadvantages to using dynamos. They're not essential, but fortunately, if you're not sure what they are, we've done a video explaining just that. I should probably point out at this moment that I don't actually commute on a Pinarello Dogma F12 with 81mm deep vision wheels in it. That would be ridiculous, as I'm not an oligarch. This just happens to be my bike, and my commute at the moment is actually a 5-minute walk. But unless you are an oligarch or a sultan who happens to commute by bike and can afford to replace fancy flash top-of-the-range components on a regular basis, I'd suggest you go for something a lot more practical as your commuter bike, because commuter bikes, they take a lot of abuse. Life being life means you're probably not going to be able to clean them as often as you'd like, and there's a good chance you're going to be riding in all weathers and sometimes on dirty roads. They take a lot of abuse. They're a workhorse, and these kind of conditions can accelerate wear on components. So it's a much better option to go for less expensive components because of this reason. Kind of do as I say and not as I do. This will be different for everyone and depend on where you're commuting, where you live, and how long your commute is. Now, living in Bath around here, there's lots of quiet lanes and lots of little roads, and you can really do some awesome routes. But I did actually used to live in London and commute by bike there, which was a completely different story. Consequently, I had to get really good at plotting clever and awesome routes in order to avoid riding on like motorways and dual carriageways and stuff. Now, there are lots of different ways you can do this, but here at GCN, we use COMMUTE. COMMUTE is an app that's really useful for plotting routes, and it has some great tools in it, such as ones that can help you pick quieter roads that are, well, more cyclist friendly, also different terrains. So perhaps you want the route to work that has the lowest elevation possible, or perhaps you want one that has the most elevation possible. Different road surfaces as well, so it can isolate roads that are off-road and gravel if you want to have some mixed surface action on your commute. And perhaps if you're lucky enough to have more than one type of bike as well, you could have an off-road specific commute and an on-road one. We did a great video looking at on-road versus off-road commuting last year. If you're struggling with motivation to ride to work, then why not consider riding with someone else? Ask around work and see who else is commuting by bike. Even if you end up just meeting them halfway along your commute, it'll be worth it, because riding with someone else gives you added motivation. It's a target, someone to chase, someone to keep up with, and someone else that is going to rely on you to actually turn up and ride in on your bike. On the other hand, if you're a keen, wily veteran of commuting by bike and you know someone at work who's a bit unsure, a bit nervous about it and would like some company and could benefit from it, then, why not lend them a hand and help guide them in the ways of commuting? It can be incredibly rewarding. All right, Dan, remember, pack your pants for the rest of the week. Yeah, I've packed mine, yeah. Nice one. See you later. Bye. When you're commuting, a backpack can be all right sometimes. It can be fine on a shorter commute, but on longer ones, they can get quite uncomfortable and they can make you a bit sort of sweaty, and even rides over 20 minutes, they can start to get a bit annoying. But there is another option. You can use panniers or bike packing bags. I'd really recommend doing this. I mean, panniers, they're kind of a bit like clothes. They come in and go out of fashion on a regular cycle. But irrespective of that, they're incredibly practical and incredibly useful. And having the weight taken off your body and put onto the bike is just, really freeing. You just feel much more comfortable when you're riding along, especially if you're going to be doing a longer commute. So those were our tips, but remember, if you're commuting by bike, enjoy it. It doesn't have to be a race. Relish your time on the bike. It's helping you get healthier and save the planet as well. Bonus. And if you've got any of your own hacks and tips that you want to share, fire them down in the comments, because we love to hear them and, well, might include them in a future video. And hopefully all the comments won't just be about my pants or my hair. That would be nice. But I'm going to go now because I've got to commute back home. So I'm going to put on my GCN casquette, available in the GCN shop. See you next time.